Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Ramblings Middle-earth strategy battle game battle report. In today's 600-point battle report, we pitch the might of Rivendell against that fell city, Angmar. Leading the forces of Rivendell, we have Elrond mounted on a horse with heavy armour, and he has with him 5 knights with shield, one of whom has a banner. He's being accompanied to war by his 2 children, Elladan and Elrahir, and they have heavy armour, horses, but they don't have bows to be able to fit them into this list. And with them, they have 4 Knights of Rivendell with shield. And that is 604, if you're counting, 604 points of Rivendell Knights. The forces of Angmar today are led by the Witch King. He is on his Fell Beast. He's got the crown, and he has 3 might, 16 will, and 3 fate. And he has with him 3 warg riders with shield and 4 wild wargs. Backing him up, we have the captain. He is mounted on a warg and has a shield. Then with him, he has a cave troll with the 2-handed hammer. He's got a spectre, 2 orcs with 2-handed weapon, 3 with spear and 3 with shield and 1-handed weapon. And then right in the back, we have a Barrow-wight with a spectre, 2 guys with 2-handed weapon, 3 with a shield and 3 with spear. And that is 600 points of Angmar, although it's actually 604 because that's just how it worked out, and it's exactly the same as Rivendell. We should also point out that these 4 orcs with bow, super stealthy, are part of the Witch King's warband, but managed to completely forget they existed as they were hiding in terrain. This is the table for today's battle. We have quite a bit of terrain, but it's still quite open, so it's got enough stuff to block line of sight without being too terrain heavy. And as you can see, there's 5 objectives in a cross, because today's scenario is capture and control. Each objective marker is worth 2 points at the end of the game if you're able to control it. And to control an objective, it's a case of tag and run. So if you have a model at the end of the turn in base contact with it, it becomes yours until the enemy are able to take it themselves. And if both sides have a model, then it will become neutral. All the objectives start off neutral. As the game progresses, they'll probably flick backwards and forwards between the elves and the orcs. The majority of the victory points are generated from these objectives, with each objective being worth 2 points. There's then 1 for either wounding or killing the enemy leader, and 1 for breaking the enemy. Victory points, as always, counted up at the end of the game, and the game ends on the roll of a 1 or 2 once one side has broken. The deployment zone is anywhere from the halfway line back. However, each warband rolls a dice, and on a 1, 2 or 3, they have to deploy in the top portion of the board half, closest to the centre, and on a 4, 5 or 6, they can deploy anywhere. Not really a problem for Angmar, who are probably all going to go straight at the front and ready to get up close and personal as quick as possible. But Rivendell, it's not the end of the world because they're very mobile, but they would like to be further back. So with that introduction, we'll roll for turn 1, for deployment priority, and see who is going to deploy first. And with Evil in red, Evil will deploy their first warband. With both forces deployed, we're ready to begin the battle. Angmar have just planted everything in the centre at the front, while Rivendell managed to get half of their guys quite far back, but the twins were forced to deploy slightly further forward within 12 inches. So the firing lines, not the world's greatest, but they'll be able to part, and most will still be able to shoot. So they'll still get a couple of turns of shooting and manoeuvring around while Angmar charge towards them. So let's roll for turn 1 priority. And it's a draw. So we'll roll again. And this time it's a 2 high to Angmar. So Angmar will have turn 1 priority. With Angmar having turn 1 priority, the elves could call a heroic move to move back out of range of a potential compel, which could shift someone forward, the fell beast getting on it, all those kind of shenanigans. However, realistically, that will overstretch Angmar, and Rivendell will then come in and kill the Witch King. So they're not too concerned about that, and they're not going to call any heroic moves. Angmar have advanced. They've gone after these objectives. The Witch King's going to go for the central one, but first off, he's going to try and black dart one of the twins' horses. The twins have different hair colours. One is a brunette, and the other is auburn-haired. So Elladan or Elra here, but the brown-haired chap is going to get his horse black darted if the dice are in the Witch King's favour. So he is going to roll 2 out of his 16. It goes off on a 6. So with the FAQ, it can't be resisted. So on a 3+, the horse is dead. And it's a 4, so the horse is down. And as we've got this dice, we'll just roll his thrown rider to 2. So he's not prone, but he won't be able to move. We'll put his dismount in a moment, and then we'll just finish the Witch King's movement. He is going there to take that objective. He has then finished Angmar's move, vulnerable to a charge and heroic moves and those kind of things, but now he's off his horse, less so, and also that would be half a charge as the rest of them are back to shoot. So Angmar happy to bait Rivendell with that kind of manoeuvre. We'll come back after we've put that dismount down and then Rivendell have had a chance to move. Good have finished their move. The knights have just parted to allow these shots, and the heroes have stayed still. This chap had to stay still, the brown-haired twin, and then the auburn-haired twin has stayed still so that he is in charge range. So the forces of Angmar can charge him, and he can charge mainly because he's not got a bow. He might as well sort of be able to take a charge. If Angmar are daft enough to go in, he'll be able to have friends counter. So he's just staying still. A couple of guys moved and the rest staying still for bow shots. There's no more movement, so we'll go into that shoot phase and we'll just roll all of them at once, because every single bow has a clear shot on the Witch King. It's very hard for the Witch King, who's so high up, to get any in the ways. The troll, with hindsight, should really have been in the way of him, but that's how it goes. So we'll do the 4 green dice are the ones that moved, hitting on 4s, and then 5 dice hitting on 3s. Now the ones that are hitting on 3s, those tabletop ramblings dice, as they're stationary, the army bonus means they can re-roll failed to hit. So this could be particularly nasty. So we have 1 miss that's re-rollable, not a lot. So it still misses, so that army bonus does absolutely nothing. But quite a lot of hits there on the Witch King. The Witch King is... he's on his Fell Beast, which gives him a 1 to 4 in the way rather than 1 to 3. So does it hit him or the Beast? We have quite a lot of each. We've got 4 on the Beast, we'll roll those. It's a 6 to wound, nothing. And then on the Witch King, 6s by 4s. There's a 6. Does it wound? No, a 3. No wounds there on the Witch King. End of the turn. We'll flip over some objectives, and the 4 objectives go to evil and good. I'm just leaving this one for now, baiting evil forward. So we'll roll for priority, and we'll just point out as well, you might have noticed these archers magically appeared a second ago. That's because, yet again, those stealthy archers forgot to even get deployed. They're just going to go at the back anyway, ready to shoot into combat. And priority goes to good. So that is not an ideal result there for the elves, who like to react, but will get stuck into their movement phase. Rivendell have pulled back to get shots, and Angmar have charged forward, getting 3 wild wargs ready to get shot to bits, but hopefully one of them will survive and take that objective. They've come in though, just before the Witch King's move, because he is going to pop 6 inches forward into range of Elrond's horse and try exactly the same thing as he did to his son. 2 dice. Oh, the 5 is cocked, so we'll re-roll it. A 3, not good enough. But with the crown, he does get a free re-roll to a 4. Oh, is it worth a point of might? No, at this stage, he's not going to might it, so that's just 2 will for a failed black dart. If he does might it, he still has to roll a 3 to wound it. It's just too much of a gamble. Waste of might there to risk it. So that spell does not go off. So he's moved 6 forward. He can then move less than 6. He's got 12-inch move to hide behind this troll, so that he's got in the way this time. Although realistically, he's probably not much of a target. It's going to be these 3 wild wargs. So that is all of the movement. We'll go into that shoot phase. Into the shoot phase then. And we'll start off with the 2 that have moved. 2 on either side, which is 4. I can do maths. And they are just going to volley into those 3. If by some miracle they all wound, then 1 arrow is just wasted. But the odds are very slim. And we should also point out the stealth archers, who keep getting forgotten. They did move after the Witch King, just forward. They're going to be out of range, but it's just to cover the battle line. If the good forces charge in, then they can try and shoot into combat. They're also a bit of a last line of defence for the objectives. So these 4 firing into there. They've moved, so they're hitting on 4s. And 1 misses, so that's 3. That's 1 each. They need 5s to wound, so 5 plus on all 3 dice would be incredible here. Killing all of them. Oh dear. None of them. Not a single puppy. So those wargs are fine, but there are 5 more shots. And we'll roll them all together. See who hits. Ooh, all of them, bar this chap here, who does hit with the re-roll. So that army bonus has finally done something. One option with this list was to get rid of the army bonus and to stick in Legolas and Aragorn. Legolas would have not been from the Fellowship. He'd have been from Thranduil's Halls because he's 10 points cheaper. He gets his free armor and he's 5 points cheaper. That would have been a much higher points list. So seeing if the army bonus is worth it, and so far not really. So 5 plus then to wound these. And that is abysmal. Not a single wound. A lot of 1s. If they were wounding on 1s, they'd all be dead. So absolutely fine. Rivendell Knights. Shooting has been very, very poor. Kind of wishing now that they'd just charged in and gone nuts instead of standing back and shooting and losing all this board control. But there we are. We'll see what happens next. So that is the end of the turn. There's no shooting for evil. So we'll roll for priority if we can find some dice. And on a draw, it goes to evil this time, as good had it last. That is probably not the end of the world for either side, really. So priority to evil, and that objective as well in the end phase has swung to evil. The 4 stealth bowmen interrupt this video to say please like, comment and subscribe. Thank you. Evil priority, and after a lot of deliberation, good are not going to call a heroic move. There's the option to call one with this twin here. He'd only get these few riders, so they'll be able to charge in, get some charge bonuses, get counter-charged, and then the rest of the cavalry could help out, which is quite good. And it's also stops these 3 pesky wargs just tying everything up, messing around. He's quite vulnerable, but Elrond, importantly, causes terror, so odds are none of those 3 are going to charge him. So he'll be able to go off, do a heroic combat and probably flatten anything that charges in. So going to risk it and not call a heroic move. Coming in at the end of Evil's move, they've charged in with the wargs and everything else has just piled forward. They've managed to tag the no longer prone but dismounted elven hero. Very few combats really. Good in quite a strong position to get a nasty heroic combat off there. But the Witch King is still to move. So he's going to move into range of Elrond and he's going again to try and take out that horse. So another 2, leaving him with just 10 whale. But this time it does go off there on the 6. Can't be resisted. 1, 2 or 3. It's a waste, but on a 4+, on a 3+ actually, it will kill that horse. And it's a 1. Oh, that is not good for Angmar. That leaves Elrond free to go in. They'll charge out. Flood all over the place there with different heroics. Is it worth 2 points a might from the Witch King? Is that just completely insane? It would mean that he's dismounted. He'd have to roll a 6 on the Throne Rider to be able to charge into combat. Can't make strikes if you've been dismounted, although his friends could still catapult off. No, the Witch King again is going to save that might. He's not going to risk it. So still full might, but he's lost 6 will and all he's doing is take out one of the twin horses. That is not so good. He's then going to finish his move by just coming forward to there. And then we have over here, the Barrowite can move up and he's in range of a paralyze on the auburn-haired twin. He's going to use 2 of his will. Goes off on a, does go off on the 5. I think it's 4+, but it definitely goes off on the 5 there. So that twin is going to try and resist it. If the paralyze goes off, then he is dismounted and automatically loses the combat. His friend will still be able to fight, but it means he won't be able to do any heroics, and they really do need to heroic combat off. So he's going to use both of his will. And he just saves it there. So he's got no will, but he is not paralysed. And then the Barrowite, already pre-measured, just comes up to behind the orcs and importantly gives them terror. So that is the evil move. The archers, who we've not forgotten, are staying still. And they're shooting to combat, probably not this turn. There's still too many in the ways, but mid and late game. But that is evil, and we'll go for Good's movement. Start of the combat phase, and unsurprisingly, the Auburn twin is calling a heroic combat, and so is Elrond. We'll start off with the redhead. He bottles it there. That's the hero. And then the 3 for the knights as he charged. He gets an extra 1. We'll see what Evil get. Was not expecting them to botch that. But Evil do as well. A 3 high is not enough. So then he is trapped and thrown to the ground by that guy. So we have double strikes from the hero, who is wounding on 4s because he's strength 4, defense 4, guts in there on a 6. And then they will all charge into those orcs. We'll do that in a moment. Heroic move was going so well, and then the twin managed to completely botch his courage to charge these terrifying orcs. They're within 3 inches of a hero spirit model, so their army bonus gives them terror, and he's rolled a 3. He's down to courage 5 because of Harbinger of Evil from the Witch King, so he needs to use both of his will to increase that to a 5 and be able to make the charge. That is absolutely abysmal there. There is another heroic combat though, so hopefully the forces under Elrond's command are going to be that little bit better than their very cowardly compadre. We'll let Evil set the bar here. At a 2, Elrond alone wins there on the 6. And then his first set of strikes, in fact, he's got more strikes than that. He has 4 on the charge. Bottles it. Can he get him on his double strikes? Yes, there we go. That's 6 is a kill. He's wounding on 4s. He's a true Elven Lord. I managed to botch it on the first 4, though. So then these guys will all get to charge. Most of those orcs will not cause terror. Probably only a few with the Witch King. We'll measure that up and then we'll come back after they've moved. After that heroic, much braver lads here. They managed to charge in. This guy charging a few to help out the hero. This guy just tagging him. Importantly, to take out their control zones so that one and Elrond can try and flash kill that troll. Even fight value, but with Elven Blade, Elrond is hoping to win that. The banner has moved so that he's in range of all of the fights. And this guy bravely failed his courage test, so he's staying still. There is now loads of combats, so we'll just work our way across. Neither of these guys charged, so it's just a 2-on-1. It goes to good, and they are wounding on 5s. And they kill him. The sacrificial warg is dead. We'll then do this fight here, and it's going to be the 2. Oh, in fact, it's evil priority, isn't it? So we'll put as many as possible onto the hero because this guy will knock him down. So he does have 3 attacks when he's on foot against the orc, so we'll let him set the bar, see if he can win. Oh, he gets the 6, nice and easy. He's going to go after the warg rider. He needs a 5 to kill. Nope. Yes. And then one of the, in fact, the 2-hander needing definitely more than a 1. So he has forced them to back away. And he's killed the rider. Does the warg stay? No. So taken out the warg rider and mount. We've then got this guy who charged against 2. So the front chap, he's going to piercing strike because why not? If he loses, he's dead, and he does lose. So then with the lance bonus, wounding on 4s. Absolutely guts that guy in front. Spearman backs away and he is dead. We then, in fact, we'll come back to the troll. We'll do this chap here, another 2-on-2, and again, that's a piercing strike from the orc, and it goes to good again. So first set of strikes, that 3 probably does it. What does the pierce go down? It goes down 2, so he is defense 3. Yeah, the guy getting wounded there on 4's down to 3, so the spearman backs away, and this guy is dead. Backs away, making sure that no one can get in on the Witch King. We'll sort that out in a moment. We then come across to these fights over here where loads of resources have been spent just to get the twins into combat. So we'll do the twin first. His 3 attacks on the charge against 2 orcs. Piercing striking guy with the axe. Oh, and wins. Miles away from the banner. So, does he want... He's going to lose his horse if he doesn't might it. But that's his last point of might. And he can't then get the jump on these guys. So, he's going to risk it. He's not going to use that last point of might. In fact, no, he is. He is because, not that we've rolled it, we'll do that in a moment, but Elrond has foresight, so he can try and guarantee priority for next turn, and Rivendell need kills. So, last point of might. In fact, no, that's gibberish. He's got 3, so he's still got 1 left. He's down 2, he's got 1 left. Dear me, we'll get there in the end. It's been a long day. So, he is going to win the fight on him with his first set of strikes. In fact, on the spearman, because it's just 4s, kills him. And then 2 double strikes on that chap, kills him. There we go. We'll get there in the end. And that is 2 dead orcs. A lot of resources, 2 points of might and 2 points of will. But he has managed to start cutting down orcs. We then have this guy on a single spearman. Spearman can't shield. He just needs some luck. Nearly. But on the draw, the elf wins. First set of strikes does not kill. Needing 5s down to 4s. There we go, that gets him. He is squashed under hoof. Then we have a 1-on-1. And that orc, he's not going to bother shielding. He's going to piercing strike. He's got an axe. He loses. And he dies. 5s down to 4s and the piercing strike. That is how the elves like to do it. Carving their way through. They're still fighting an uphill battle here, these elves. But that is a good start in combats. Hopefully, Elrond can continue against the troll. So, the troll is going to, obviously, Burly 2-hand. He really wants a 6 here. A 5, that'll do. He is against Elrond on the charge. And a chap. And there is the banner to give them a reroll. Elrond there gets the 6, wins the fight. Pushes the troll back, and now they are going to try and kill it. The troll is not knocked prone, so he's just taking strikes. The lance is wounding on 6s down to 5s. Gets the extra attack, but obviously not doubled because it's not knocked down. Nothing at all. And then Elrond, he has his 4, wounding on 5s because he is strength 4. And bottles it. No wounds there on the troll. That was very anticlimactic for the end of the turn. With the shooting being wholly unsuccessful this game, Rivendell have finally charged into combat and have really gone to town on Angmar, slaughtering nigh on 10 of their 30-odd force. They've done a serious amount of damage there. Angmar still have total board control, so it's an uphill climb still for Rivendell, but they've proved that they do have what it takes in combat. Let's roll for turn 4-ish priority. It's a draw. It went to evil last, so it goes to good. And while we remember, we're going to roll for Elrond's foresight points. 6. So he has 6 foresight points. That means that he can use those to plus or minus either side's priority roll. So with 6, he is going to seriously abuse the priority roll there late game, and he's going to have some good board control. So priority to good, and without needing to stop and think, the captain is calling a heroic move. And so this twin here is going to call with a point of might, because Elrond's is a little bit more valuable and he can reach all of the guys he needs to anyway. So we'll do that roll off now. 1, 2 or 3, it's evil. 4 plus it goes to good, and that is a 4. So Rivendell will move first and keep the momentum in their charge. With the heroic move roll off going to the forces of good, the twin is just going to bob forward to allow Elrond to use his magic. He is going to potter forward in range of the Witch King, and he's going to just one dice a Wrath of Brunnen, which means everyone within 3 will be knocked over. Ideally, taking the Troll and the Witch King off their feet, which would also dismount the Witch King, but another good result is simply to force the Witch King to burn a load of will. So it goes off. Oh, we'll re-roll that, that's quite cocked. It does go off on a 3, not very high, but at least it is forcing the Witch King to burn more will. It does have a free re-roll on resists, but oh, is it worth it? Yeah, he's just going to use 1. So this will take him down to 9, and he resists it there. He could re-roll that, chasing the 6 to get it for free, but that really is brave. So 1 will off the Witch King, 1 will off Elrond. Maybe not the brightest, but if that had been a 6 to get Wrath of Brunnen off, then the Witch King would have had to use lots and lots of will to keep everyone on their feet. So a gamble that didn't necessarily pay off, but it's not the end of the world. And then Elrond will take a courage test to charge into the Troll and his friend. He loves it. And that's the end of his move. We'll just do the rest of the moves off camera because it's boring doing various courage tests. And then we'll come in and see what's going on. End of the movement phase, except for the Witch King, who we'll do in a second. Good have managed to make quite good charges, although this chap failed his courage test. And these two haven't charged because that guy's got the banner and he is forming just a nice big block so that the Witch King can't charge the banner and hurl him into Elrond. Elrond can't be charged by the Witch King. He could be barged into, but there's nothing really that could protect him from that without setting him up for a hurl. Over here, Good have managed to charge in, but this guy failed his courage test. The courage of these elves is quite abysmal, really. It's 5, 6 on the heroes, and yet they're failing courage tests left, right and centre. But importantly, the hero has managed to get in on the 2 that have shenanigans, and is hoping to try and take out that Barrowite and then make a break for the objectives. This guy, once again, failed his courage test. He's not very brave either. And then Evil, the captain who heroic moved, he didn't bother calling with me. He just whipped round to take out the charge bonus from that cavalry. And then, as we say, the Witch King is still left to move. So he is going to think about where he's going to move, dependent on whether his spell goes off. He is going to, again, 2 dice black dart Elrond's horse. He's going to drop to 9 will doing this. Oh, it doesn't go off. He does have the reroll. Still not off. And he's going to do it. He's going to waste that might. So he's going to spend 1 point of might to turn that into a 5. And now it's a 3 up to kill the horse. Oh, yes, it pays off. The horse is dead. And then we'll do the Throne Rider. On a 6, Elrond jumps to his feet and will still make strikes, which is really what the elves need here. It's a 1. Elrond is prone. That is the worst possible result. Elrond is prone. Will just pop him down and then the Witch King will move. So that really, really hurts the elven cause as prone. He loses his mount and now his base size is small enough that the Witch King can get right next to him. So if he barges, he is guaranteed to get into combat. The Elven Banner has been charged, so that is a very, very strong move there from Angmar. It does leave the Witch King very exposed to counter charges next turn, but it's all or nothing at this point for Angmar in terms of kills anyway. They do still have every objective except the one that's hiding there, which is contested. So that's the end of the movement phase. Evil have moved everything that they can except these 4 archers, who are now going to shoot. They're going to shoot down into this combat here, which is a Warg Rider and a Spearman with a Knight, and also into the hero here. So 2 of them have clear shots on him. We'll do them first. They both miss. And then those 2 shooting into this combat here. Or in fact, they could fire into Elrond's combat. Yeah, they'll fire into Elrond's combat, why not? And 1 hits. Does it hit the troll or not? 1, 2 or 3, it hits the troll, of course it does. And 6 is to wound? No, so no wound there. The shooting from orcs is particularly poor, but the elven shooting's also been poor, so I guess they've got good company. Let's go into the combat phase. Start of the combat phase, and both the Witch King and Elrond are going to call heroic strikes. We'll get to that in a moment though, as first we'll just work our way across the line. So we'll do this fight here. It's good priority, so they are doing the fights that make the most sense to good. So this fight here is just 1 because the cavalry charge, the counter charge there from cavalry is taking away his bonus. We'll let Evil roll first, the captain on those translucent reds, a 5 high. So a 5 to win the fight on fight value from the elf, just a 2. And the banner is miles away, so they have lost. Now, the captain will be wounding on 5s, and he is a spectre, so wounding on courage. We'll do the captain first, and then we'll think about courage in a moment. He gets the kill anyway, so we don't need to worry about Blades of the Dead. That is a dead knight. We'll do this fight next, which is the hero. He has 3 attacks on foot, gets a 5 high against 2 piercing striking guys, 1 of whom is going to 2-hand, and that's that translucent one. They need a 6 here to win, and it needs to, irrelevant anyway. So 5 high, that is not good enough. And the 2-hander goes down to defense 3, so he's getting wounded on 4s. And the other guy goes down to 4, he's getting wounded on 4s as well. So irrelevant as to who he goes for, he's going to prioritize the guy that can shield. And kills none of them. Well done, Eladan / Elra here. That is impressive. Those twins seem to be cursed. They've done nothing all game. We then have a 1-on-1. The chap with the spear can't shield, so he's going to fight it. He's going to lose, and he's going to be wounded on 5s down to 4s, and he dies. That's another orc that bites the dust. We'll come back to Elrond in a moment, and we'll do, this is painful round here. So a 2-on-1, this guy charged cavalry, so he gets no bonus, except his lance, of course, which does stick around. So it's a 2-on-1, and that is not good. The banner is too far away, so Evil have won. He can back away. It's 5s from the Warg Rider. Cocked. No, and then 6s from the other chap. No, wrong way round. He backs away, still on the objective, even though it's a modelled objective and it's quite difficult to stand on. Rules as written, you can stand on top of objectives. We then have these guys on this chap here. Not going to bother 2-handing, even though there are 3 2-handers. They just want to win that fight. Will they piercing strike? No, they're not going to piercing strike either. They've got the cavalry there with the higher strength, and he's taken the charge bonus off the elf. The elf loses just a 5 to a 6. That's a misprint dice. Says 7, but it's obviously a 6. He is in banner range, so he's rolling for the 6 and fails. So now we have the Warg Rider needing 5s. He's trapped, so it's double strikes. That's 6. Again, is cocked. Dear me, you need to roll away from that. A 4, not enough. Then we've got the 2-handers who wished that they had 2-handed, rolling. Double strikes each, so 6 needing 6s. There it is. That elf is dead. Keeping the objective contested, as these guys are still on it. We then come across and we have these two against the elf. Elf on the charge against two orcs, and he's not going to break tradition. He is going to piercing strike. Loses. He goes down to, oh dear me, defense 2. So he's getting wounded on 3s. So 3s against him, he's dead. He would have been dead anyway. And then, yeah, they both die. That is painful there for Angmar. And then we have the Ginger Twin on the charge against the Barrowite and Friend. It's a Spectre. There's no might, so we'll roll them together. Just a 4 high. The Twin gets the 6. He's 1. And then he's going after the Barrowite. Take out that Paralyze magical spell. So needing 6s. His first double strikes, nothing. Second double strikes, nothing. Third double strikes, nothing. So he's knocked them prone. We'll put markers on them in a minute, but they are absolutely fine. We then come across to the scary event here, which is the Witch King against Banner and Elrond against the Troll. It is good priority. So Elrond is going to fight against the Troll first. He has struck, so what does his fight value go up to? Goes up to 10, so he is fight value 10, but he's prone, so he won't be able to make strikes. So we'll roll these. Oh, and it goes to evil. He can might it. We'll just do his Lord of the West reroll. No. And his banner reroll. No. So a point of might off Elrond, leaving him with just 1. But he has 1. So the Troll backs away and Elrond has stood up. That means doing that one first meant that the Witch King couldn't annihilate him with the Troll as well. But it does mean that the Witch King knows the fight value of Elrond. He knows that he's fight value 10. He's got the Elven Blade and he's stood up. So the Witch King's not going to go into him. Although actually he still can't make strikes because he got the roll of a 1. But it's not worth it. So the Witch King is, well, he's going to strike up. Ooh, also to 10. He could go brave. He could one-shot Elrond. But he's, well, he's going to see if he wins the fight first, and then he's going to think about that. So the banner is -1, down to a 5. He can't beat the Witch King's 5 because the Witch King has the fight value. So the Witch King is 1. Does he just kill the banner? Or does he go after Elrond? Oh, it is a tough call. He's just going to kill the banner. And he does. The banner is gone. 1 less elf to worry about. Bit of a waste of a strike, but it at least forced might off Elrond as well. So Elrond there, down to 1 might left. The Witch King with 1 as well after his heroics, pumping up the Black Dart. So that's the end of the turn. We'll roll for priority while we're here, and then we'll have a bit of a recap. And it goes to evil. There's a huge differential there, so the 6 points of foresight that Elrond has, he's not going to waste them on this roll. So with evil priority, the Ginger Twin is using his last point of might for a heroic move, and the Brunette Twin is calling a heroic move as well. This heroic will get all of these elves, and he'll get all of those, allowing them to get the jump on the forces of Angmar. This captain is just going to get these, but it's enough to shut his heroic off, so the captain is going to call in counter. There's no might over here to do anything about that one. So we'll roll off. And it goes to the forces of good. So this chap is going to do his heroic first and allow the elves to potentially really abuse the Witch King and his friends. After that heroic, this chap failed his courage test and didn't manage to charge the Witch King, which means Elrond is going to have to take on the Witch King and a billion blokes. He's going to use his 2 remaining will to try and knock him off that beast. He's going to Wrath of Brunnen with 2. It goes off on a 6. the Witch King, having fought and dropping a will last time. With all his spells, he's down to 8 will. Oh, dearie me. He also only has 1 might and he needs that for a strike. Oh, he is going to, he's going to cry. He's just going to use 3. This could really come back to haunt him now. He's going to use 4. He's going to use 4 will to resist. He's got the 5, so he can might it. That is a huge amount of resources. He's chasing the natural 6. No. So 4 will and a point of might to resist that. And then Elrond is going to take a courage test and really pray he passes to charge the Witch King. Oh, and he fails! He has failed! Elrond, numpty. He's courage 6, but drops to 5 because of the special rule from the Witch King, which effectively makes that his base courage and double 1s. So, and he's just spent all his will. He's not got enough might. Let's just double check. He's definitely not a really high courage. Let's just double check. We are actually doing him a disservice. He is courage 7, but with that -1 and with no will left, even with his might point, he cannot get into combat. So Elrond has failed, which means all of these chaps are free to move. There is, however, 1 ray of sunshine, which is this chap here, hiding. We'd missed him underneath the wings. He is going to charge the fell beast and fail. A 5 should be enough, but the -1 bubble around the wraith is just brutal for passing courage tests. He fails, and it's looking dicey for the forces of good. Fortunately, though, they do have another heroic, which is this one up here. Now, the plan was to just charge them, not call with me, and have them Foxtrot Oscar for the objective. But maybe a better plan is to run around here, try and get one of these into the Witch King. Although, realistically, I don't think that's possible. We will just double check, but we'll more than likely just charge in there. So, having checked, unfortunately, if he loops round, these guys, they just can't stop the Witch King. But with all of these guys failing courage, there's so many that if they do try their plan of escape, then they'll just be countercharged by the unengaged Witch King and Warg Riders. So, he is going to call with me, and he is going to leg it. He is just going to go for the objective, and these guys are going to peel off around. We'll measure that out and do that move now. So with that heroic move, the twin, with his last point of might, has sent his guys screaming up towards that objective. He needs to take a lot of objectives to try and reclaim this. Although evil are very close to break, so it's still possible for Rivendell to do it. Although there's a lot here unengaged that are going to move. We'll do that just now. Nearly the end of the move phase, and Elrond has just been left to his own courage failing devices, while the orcs have just swarmed all over these guys. The Witch King, who only has 3 will, has just gone to help out the cave troll. He's going to be making a quick exit from harm's way. He's pretty much useless now that he's run out of will. His plan was to go there and heroic combat and be awesome, but the captain's out of might, so the captain can't do that while the Witch King strikes, so he's gone for that fight there, help out the troll. Up here, the archers have rearranged, 3 of them moving just so they can get some shots onto these guys, but we're coming in here because the Barrowite can move up 6 and be well in range of that will-less twin. And he's going to throw all 3 of his will into a paralyze, and it goes off. So he is now paralyzed. He'll automatically lose any combat, and he's prone and all that. So he moves up 6. It's been pre-measured. He's just there. And then this guy can move up his 6, and he's within range of trying to fell light is in you one of these guys here. They have to take a courage test. If they fail, then they move full movement under the control of evil. So, courage test obviously fails because he's an elf in this this game, losing all of their courages. So he runs away, full pelt. It's not like a command or compel. It is full distance. So he just runs away from this objective here. He's dismounted and there are some shots. So not so good there. Angmar's Fable board control really coming in there. We'll just stick his dismount down. He's prone, he's paralysed, and then we'll get on with that shooting. So the twin is paralysed. With the current edition, you just stand them up and put a marker on them so that you know that they are prone. So he is giving an in the way because he stood up, but in reality he's prone. So there's no in the way for those archers. Certainly that's how we're going to rule it. Some people might disagree with that, but he is on the floor, so it would be crazy for him to give an in the way for that knight. So those four, the normal red dice are guys that have moved, and then the translucent one hasn't. So it's 6s on the ones that have all failed, but 5s on this one. So he's hit, and he's going for the knight. So horse or rider, hits the rider. It's a 6 to kill. No, just a 4. So he is absolutely fine. That's all the shooting. We'll go into the combat phase. In fact, there is one shot for good. This chap failed his courage test. He's actually got a clean shot through the trees. Oh, actually, well, it certainly looks clean when you looking through a camera. Onto that chap there. It's very difficult to see through the camera. So he hits. Does he wound? Oh, he does. We'll come back. Yes, he does wound. Strength 3 on defense 5. That 5 is enough to kill. So a kill to Elven Archery. That's a first. Then we go into the combat phase, and the Witch King is going to heroic combat. His plan is basically just to get out of dodge. So his heroic combat, he is 4 on the charge. The troll means that he's got higher fight value than the rider, so we'll just roll him and the troll first. And they bottle it. No 6 there. If the knight gets the 6, and he does, the knight wins, pushes the troll back, and the Witch King, the heroic doesn't go off, and he is going to one-shot the Witch King. We're going to give him the tabletop ramblings dice. Here we go. 6 on the Witch King. No, that's 1. So the Witch King survives, although he's only got 2 will remaining. The heroic doesn't go off, and if he's charged for another 2 turns, he will just fade away. So that's not so good there for Angmar. We'll work across though. We've got this one here. We have the captain who's out of might now, and his spectre friend against a knight. Oh dear me, the knight wins. The knight is on the charge. He's going to go for the captain's warg, and it is not dead. Even with the +1, he fails to wound it. We then have the hero fighting valiantly on foot against 3 guys. He has won, although that's cocked if it's a 6. No, of course not. Not with Angmar's luck, which seems a bit harsh because Rivendell's luck's been worse. So to wound, he needs a 4 on the 2-hander. So we'll prioritise him. Kills him, and then 5s on the other guy. Kills him. That is very, very good there for the elves. If they can break the forces of Angmar, then Angmar may well run, which will give the elves a big help there. They need all that breathing room. So here we have loads of guys. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against the elf who did charge. Oh no, in fact he didn't charge, did he? Because he's not very brave. And he super loses there on a 2. We did knock it to a 6, but it was a 2. So he's lost, he's trapped. We'll do the Warg Rider first, needing 5s, and kills him. The Elven Force as well, approaching the break point. He has lost. That's all of the combats. So we'll roll for priority while we're here. Oh, and it goes to good. There's no might left for evil. So good have that uncontested. And we'll do their move and then come back. Before we do their move though, we'll just overview the board. Angmar still have these 4 objectives. This one is now in Angmar's possession as well. So that is 5 objectives to 0. But the Witch King down to just 2 will. It's still touch and go. But up here, the Ginger Twin is out of might, out of will, and paralysed. And speaking of paralysed, end of last turn, we should have rolled his paralysed dice. On a 6, he'll stand up. It's a 4, so he remains paralysed for this turn. And with that, we'll get on with the movement phase. End of the move, and the forces of good have been incredibly brave. No one has run. They've managed to charge down here. Elrond has gone into 2. Lots of decent charges. The hero has managed to get in on the Witch King, which will take him down to 1 will remaining. If he can just keep engaging the Witch King, then he will fade away. Looking very likely now that the Witch King's going to die from lack of will. Up here, this guy's charged a Warg, and he is on the objective, so if he can win that fight, kill the Warg, he'll take the objective. Here, the guy that ran away has come back. He's now on the Barrowite, stopping the Barrowite from jumping in on the paralysed twin. He has been countercharged though by a Warg Rider. The archers have run in because they just need to be a speed bump to stop Rivendell getting objectives. That's all of the moves. So we'll, in fact, this guy's not moved. So he'll just pop in there on the captain. It's the difficulty trying to film it as well. These guys haven't moved, but they're stopping on the objective just to try and stop Elrond heroic combating and claiming the objective. At least stop him doing it too easily. Because as we go into the combat phase, that is exactly what he's doing. He's calling a heroic combat. Not least, he wants to try and combat his way out of the hurl line. So he's going to heroic combat. He's against 2 two-handers. And he is looking for a quick kill here. He needs to get both of these. They're not going to two-hand. They lose just on a 4 high. Elrond has managed it. He wounds on 4s against these defense 4 models and bottles it. He does get Lord of the West reroll for 1 kill, but unfortunately not enough to get his heroic move to go off. And that was his last point of might. That is not good there for Rivendell, but that has broken Angmar. That 1 kill is all the forces of Rivendell needed. So the game can end. The roll of a 1 or 2 starting at the end of next turn when Angmar are officially broken. But importantly, it means they may all start running away, especially as the Witch King is going away the dinosaurs. So we'll do this fight here, 2-on-1. The Spearman's dice is cocked, but it's irrelevant because that 6 from Rivendell is a win. Wounding on 5s down to 4s. Guts the Spearman. Rivendell's charge still has momentum after all this time. We'll then do the Troll. 2 because the Knight has charged against 3 from the Troll. And that is a win for the Troll. And he is going to hurl him. He's going to hurl him 6 less than 4. So that is 2 inches plus D3 is 2. So 4 inches. He's easily going to hit Elrond. We'll measure it though, because will it hit the Warg Rider? Yes. It's going to hit the Warg Rider and him. But that's just collateral damage. So this guy takes 1, 2, 3, 4 strength, 3 hits and dies. He'd have also taken a strength 5, so he was barely scuppered. This guy takes 2 strength 3s, 1 for being hit and 1 for being forcibly dismounted, and double dies. That was a good hurl there. That might even have broken the elves. Elrond takes a strength 3 hit. We'll roll these in red, actually, because it's evil strikes. Nothing there. The Warg Rider takes 2 for being hit and forcibly dismounted. He's fine, but he is dismounted. And then his friend is fine as well. But a lot of guys knocked prone. So we'll put their objective markers down and then we'll come back. Their prone markers, rather. As we're working our way across, we'll do the Witch King now. It's the Witch King with 3 and a friend. Looking for the 6 here. They really need to kill him. Oh, they've got the 6. And then the twin only gets a 4. He's got a point of might, but it's not enough to win. So, the Witch King. Now, he could hurl him. And if he hurls him far enough, he won't be able to charge the Witch King, which will mean he won't die next time. Or he could rend him, which it could kill him. He's got a lot of fate. He's going to hurl him. He's just going to leg him that way. He will clip the orc, but whatever. So he's going to hurl him and he's going to need a really high number. That's not high enough. He goes 3 inches. Any other result, the Witch King would have been okay. So he moves 3. He's probably going to hit those trees. That's not good there, because with priority, good will be able to charge him in and the Witch King will die. Should have tried to kill him, but there we go. You win some, you lose some. So he takes a strength 5 hits. Does not wound because he's defense 6. Then the strength 3 doesn't wound either. And we'll pop a prone marker on him. And the Witch King is now looking at his death next turn. We'll do this fight though. So it's 3 on 1. The captain has no might, so we'll do them all together. He's 1. Can he kill? Yes. 1 less elf. We then swing across. We have this one here. It's the Barrow-wight and a Warg Rider against the Knight. The Knight gets his lance bonus for charging, but not his extra attack because he's been countercharged and he loses anyway. So then the Warg Rider killing on 5s. Strength 4, nope. And then strength 3 with Blades of the Dead against Courage of 5. So wounding on 5s, no. So he backs away, absolutely fine. And then we have the Warg against the Charging Knight. That Warg needs to win this or the objective goes to the elves, and he does. He wins. The elf is pushed back and then it's 5s to kill. He doesn't kill him, but because of the angle, can he back away? I think he probably can. He can back away and stay on the objective, which makes it neutral. And that is the end of the turn. The forces of good have really taken a beating, but the forces of evil are battered and bruised as well. They've both been given as good as they've gotten, with both forces now broken. We'll roll for priority. It goes to evil, but Elrond is going to use 5 of his 6 foresight points to win priority, because without priority here, it is going to be a big mess. Oh, and just while we remember, hoping for a 6, can he stand up with his paralyze? No, he is still prone, well, still paralyzed, but good do have the priority for this turn, and with no might for evil, good will make their moves. End of the movement phase. Good managed to charge the Witch King, which will kill him this turn. Elrond has gone in on these guys. If he kills them, he'll take the objective. Worst case, it will go to neutral. Here, he's engaged these guys. This chap stayed still on the objective, hoping that they would fail their courage tests. But as it is, this chap has charged him. This guy's gone in. If he wins the fight, it stays neutral. If he loses, then it goes to evil. But he played the odds game, and it would have worked with most of these courage tests, because starting with the captain, he failed, which meant no stand fast. The troll failed. This archer failed. This archer failed. This archer failed. And now Angmar are very, very thin on the ground. If the game continues for a couple of turns, as it's a random game length, the forces of Rivendell are really in with a chance here. They could mop up these objectives. They still have cavalry. It's still anyone's game, especially with the Witch King dying this turn. So no shooting. We'll get into the combat straight away. Oh, in fact, this guy forgot to stand. So we'll do that now. And in fact, he needs a courage test to stay, which he fails because he's not moored over the army bonus. So there we go. Live action failure of courage, which has been the MO for Angmar this turn. So we'll start off with Elrond. He needs to kill these guys. If he can kill them, both of them, he'll take that objective. No two-handing. That guy's prone, so he won't even make strikes. Oh, and evil win. Can he re-roll it there? He gets his Lord of the West, but it's not enough. And with no might, he has lost. So he's pushed back off the objective, so evil will claim it. And the two-hander, who is one-handing, makes a strike. He needs a 6. No, that's just a 1. But this guy gets to stand. Oh dear, both fall off the objective. But they are on it. We know they are. They stand up. And Elrond is pushed back. We'll do the Witch King fight. We know he's dead. So the Witch King and his 2 friends against the hero here. He could just shield. Although shielding with his Blade Lord, he doesn't have a shield, but he's got a Blade Master or Blade Sharpie thing kind of rule. He gets an extra dice to defend himself, but he's 3 on the floor anyway, so he's just going to roll his 3. He's got the fight value. We'll let the Witch King and friends roll. They set the bar at a 6. Can he do it? No. Although he does have a point of might, so he wins the fight. And he's going to make strikes on these guys. The Witch King is dead for lack of will, so he's going to strike these guys. It's a 4 for him. No. Yes, so he is dead. He backs away, and the Witch King has fled back to the dark corners whence he came. He is out of will. We then have a final fight up here. It's a 1-on-1. The Warg charged. Oh, and the Warg wins. 5 to kill. Gets him. That objective then goes to evil. And it's not looking good for good. Although they still have cavalry. And speaking of, he is in combat. So we'll do that fight. That's the last fight. He wins it on a 1 high. He goes after the Warg. Not the Rider, but the Warg, needing 4s. Kills it. So Throne Rider, he's fine, but he is on the ground, which is important, as there's nothing to stop his cavalry bonus. Does the game end? 1 or 2, the game ends. And it's a 2. Unfortunate there for Rivendell. The game ends. If it had continued, I think they probably could have either tabled Angmar or at least started reclaiming these objectives. As it is, the game ends, and Angmar are in control of all 10 objectives. So it is very, very clear that they have won. They have 11 VPs. They've not wounded Elrond, but they have broken Rivendell, and they've got 10 for the objectives. And then the forces of Rivendell have 2. They've killed the Witch King, and they have broken Angmar. So an 11-10 victory to Angmar. That was a very, very brutal game. We'll just get rid of that dice in the way. A very brutal game. Could have gone either way if it had gone on longer. and with a little bit more luck and some better courage rolls, Rivendell could definitely have reclaimed that. As it is, with those random game lengths, it really does emphasise the dice game randomness of SPG. We'll edit that sentence out, that was absolute gibberish. But you know what I mean. So there we have it, an 11-2 victory to Angmar. Brutal for both sides, both forces pretty much wiped out. No resources left, just absolute carnage. But the elves definitely the stronger fighting force if this game were to continue. So I hope you enjoyed this game. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.